towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
There are 3 words I always hear when someone from our staff is on the phone. We got it. Hi, it's Laurie from Rex Battery, and whenever somebody calls us and asks if we have a certain type of battery, the answer is always, we got it. Even in those very rare instances we don't, we know how to get it. And if we don't know how to get it, we'll build it. That's how committed we are to making sure you have the power you need. From model cars to real cars, from toys to tractors, dog collars to doorbells, riding mowers to remote keys. If it takes a battery, we have it at Rex Battery. Over 75,000 batteries in stock right now. So if you're wondering if we've got a battery, yep, we've got it. They're fresh, fully charged, and ready to go, keeping Central Illinois fully powered for over 60 years. Rex Battery, Clear Lake, west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Well, we're not quite done just yet. Brian Lauer here, and I hope you all had a great Christmas. I know I did. It was the last retail Christmas season for me. See, I've been in retail since I was in 8th grade. But don't say goodbye just yet. We still have inventory to sell. So, we may be open another couple of weeks or till it's gone. Bring your Christmas cash and save big. Hours are 11 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, in the beautiful Montvale Junction Shopping Center on West Isles.
92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
While you were sleeping, the Illinois House passed a ban on certain types of semi-automatic weapons and magazines of 12 or more, plus an extension of the firearm owner restraining order, which goes from 6 months to 12 months. Now it's up to the Illinois Senate to deal with this issue, and both chambers are back in session today. Good morning. It is Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk, where you can tune in each and every weekday morning from 6 to 9 here on WMAY or on my YouTube channel, Bishop on Air, 92.7 WMAY's Facebook page, and elsewhere. Also on Twitter, just search Bishop on Air, and we can connect that way. So it was about 12:48 in the morning or so whenever the House ultimately got to the final votes, and we'll hear a little bit of the exchange with Governor J.B. Pritzker actually on the House floor, sitting next to House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch not last night, early this morning, just a handful of hours ago. So we'll hear a lot of the debate from throughout the day, starting with Governor J.B. Pritzker at the Ball Chatham Elementary School on a separate issue. He was talking about early childhood education funding, but of course, with the Q&A, they had to discuss the latest happenings in the back and forth about the possible ban of semi-automatic weapons. So here's Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday responding to some of the questions about the looming bill that could ban certain types of weapons, and the question of, what's changed, and is he confident that something's going to get done with banning semi-automatic weapons like AR-15s or certain types of pistols and certain types of shotguns and magazines with capacity of 12 or more, which seems kind of an odd number, being that a lot of standard issue pistols even have 14-round magazines. So here's Governor J.B. Pritzker discussing a bit about how he sees this playing out, and this was again early in the day yesterday.
Well, actually, we didn't talk much about an assault weapons ban during my first term on the campaign trail. This is an important thing. I mean, it's something I believe in, but as you know, and we've gotten a lot of my priorities, we talked about them and then got them done. An assault weapons ban is an important thing for us to get done. And so I believe we will. And what's changed, I think, are attitudes about the idea that the NRA shouldn't control the legislature and what the legislature does, especially in response to mass shootings that have taken place across the country and here in Illinois. And so I think there's a strong majority of people across the state that believe that we don't need weapons of war on the streets of Illinois, and that we can save lives if we pass an assault weapons ban.
And then I asked the governor about what his thoughts are of the possibility of penalty enhancements for people who may have magazines over a certain capacity. And he talked a little bit about those penalty enhancement prospects.
I think those are concerns that I think everybody's taking into account as the legislation is being crafted. As you know, something that's introduced a few weeks ago or more than a month ago changes over time, and so there are adjustments that are made. But the very important thing is that we obviously need to hold people accountable who break the law. If we're going to ban assault weapons and someone is caught with an assault weapon that isn't allowed to have one, hasn't been grandfathered in or whatever, there have to be penalties for that. And I think there's a common understanding of that. It's just what's an enhanced penalty look like?
So Governor J.B. Pritzker yesterday, early in the day, that was about 10:30 or so when those questions came in. And then I rushed over to the Capitol and got some reaction from Republican State Representative Dan Calkins. He's out of the Decatur area, and he reacted to what the governor had to say about that and other issues, especially the idea that you have strong polling numbers, the governor said, that shows a lot of people don't want what he called weapons of war on our streets. And that seems to be a term that's regularly used as weapons of war. But these are pretty common rifles that are in 2+ million households probably across the state of Illinois. Then you've got, across the entire country, all of these different weapons. But you've got, again, the Decatur Republican Dan Calkins reacting to this, saying that our Second Amendment rights don't get superseded by polling numbers. So here is Representative Calkins.
Haven't heard much from the FOP. Sheriff's Association is obviously against this. State's attorneys are looking at this as a violation of the Second Amendment. You're seeing counties all across the state of Illinois, county boards, adopting resolutions, making it very plain that their county governments are not in favor of this legislation and will not lift a finger to enforce it. I think that the very important message is that you can't pick and choose what you want in the Constitution. It's all or nothing, and we firmly believe that this is a line in the sand, and we will stand and defend the Constitution as our oath of office.
So
haven't heard much.
Representative Calkins suggesting that they're not going to go along with any kind of gun ban, and this was all before an amendment was filed to a separate bill, because we were all looking at a House bill, I forget it now, 5855, and then later in the day, it was revealed that there's an amendment to a Senate bill that passed back in April of 2021. So we're still in the current General Assembly that was in place back in April of 2021. So a Senate bill that passed back then, they were going to amend the Senate bill with a House amendment, and it essentially brought out all of these different semi-automatic weapons that it would define as assault weapons. It also increased the magazine capacity threshold from 10 to 12. However, it removed the prospect of prohibiting anyone under 21 from getting a firearm owner identification card. So those are some of the changes there are. They then brought it out in a committee where they discussed it briefly. And then later on, early in the morning hours, they began debate in the House where they ultimately did pass it. And we'll hear some of the committee debate and then some of the moments just before it passed the House early this morning here in Springfield. So stay tuned. A lot more coming up here with Springfield's Morning News. I'm Greg Bishop on 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's News and Talk. Let's take a look at Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast, where today, expecting a high of 39 with mostly cloudy skies, the low of 29. And then Saturday, we've got a chance of rain with a high around 39. Saturday nights, 40% chance of snow with the low of 31. Sunday, partly sunny with a high of 38. Monday, mostly sunny, the high of 46. And Tuesday, mostly sunny with a high of 44. Right now, overcast skies, 30 degrees at 621 from Culver's West on Wabash.
apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
Springfield's Morning News. Just realized I didn't have the audio on the live stream, so we'll get to all of this again. We'll revisit all of this. I promise it is Springfield's Morning News. All right, stay tuned. Much more coming up. Right now, though, it's 6:31 on WMAY.
92.7 WMAY.
Here are the 3 big things you need to know.
I'm Don Howard. Our top story. Investigators say a key piece of evidence in the case of 4 University of Idaho students stabbed to death in November was surveillance footage showing a white sedan driving past the victim's home. According to a police affidavit, the car drove past 3 times before the stabbings and was recorded speeding away afterwards. Investigators tracked the car and eventually DNA evidence to Brian Koberger, a 28-year-old graduate student in criminology at Washington State University. In most criminal cases on New Year's Day, but the state's highest court put it on hold until appeals are heard. Briefs will be filed in the case by late February, with oral arguments expected during the Supreme Court's session in March. It's unknown how long after that it will take for the justices to issue a decision. Illinois' economy is still growing, but the rate of growth continues to slow down, according to the University of Illinois Flash Index, which measures economic activity by looking at various metrics, including personal income, consumer spending, and corporate earnings. The index fell in December from 103.7 to 103.3. Any reading above 100 signifies economic growth, but the index has fallen steadily since April. University of Illinois economists say the signals are mixed, and it's unclear whether the state and the nation are headed toward recession. Former Illinois Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger has landed a new job. Kinzinger was introduced Wednesday night as a senior political commentator on CNN. Kinzinger served 6 terms in Congress, but decided not to seek re-election last year after drawing criticism from many of his fellow Republicans for serving on the House Select Committee looking into the January 6th insurrection at the U.S. Capitol. Kinzinger has been a harsh critic of former President Donald Trump and many of Trump's allies in Congress. Your dependable 5-day forecast is next on WMAY.
How would you like to work for the area's premier multimedia marketing and advertising company right here in Springfield? Well, here's your opportunity. At Midwest Family, we're looking for talented and dynamic account executives who thrive in a fast-paced working environment. Those who are passionate, self-motivated, goal-oriented, and highly competitive. Are you a problem solver with great communication skills? Do you have a grasp on today's digital media? And do you have the ability to cultivate lasting relationships and partnerships? If this sounds like this is for you, apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on our careers tab. At Midwest Family Springfield, we offer unique sales career opportunities where you're given a challenging mission, world-class tools like HubSpot CRM, ongoing training, and the chance to realize your full potential as a marketing and advertising sales professional. This is Rob Zavitka, Director of Sales and Business Development Manager at Midwest Family Springfield. Are you my next candidate? If so, please apply online today at MidwestFamilySPI.com and click on the careers tab. Midwest Family is an equal opportunity employer.
Start the new year off with a bang at Hendrick's Home Furnishings going on now. Take up to 30% off tag sale prices on all in-stock Lazy Boy furniture. That's right, up to 30% off of Hendrick's already discounted sale prices, not from MSRP or list prices like the other stores. In stock and ready for delivery only at Central Illinois' go-to store for Lazy Boy deals. Family-owned Hendrick's Home Furnishings, delivering fine furniture since 1949 on Route 4 in Verdon.
Memorial Health would like to talk to you about a career in healthcare. Now through the end of January, Memorial is hosting a series of hiring events for multiple departments. Come learn about our available positions as well as some of the biggest hiring incentives we've ever offered. like limited time hiring bonuses for RNs and PCTs. Virtual sessions are available, but hurry, space is limited. Register now at jobs.memorial.health/events. Memorial is an equal opportunity employer.
Springfield's dependable 5-day forecast on WMAY. Today, sunny with a high near 39, low around 29. Tomorrow, a chance of light rain or snow in the afternoon, then partly sunny with a high near 40. Flurries tomorrow night with a low around 31. Sunday, partly sunny with a high near 38, low around 25. Monday, mostly sunny with a high near 46. Tuesday, partly sunny with a high near 44. Wednesday, partly sunny with a high near 45. I'm Don Howard, 92.7 WMAY.
There are 3 words I always hear when someone from our staff is on the phone. We got it. Hi, it's Laurie from Rex Battery, and whenever somebody calls us and asks if we have a certain type of battery, the answer is always, we got it. Even in those very rare instances we don't, we know how to get it. And if we don't know how to get it, we'll build it. That's how committed we are to making sure you have the power you need. From model cars to real cars, from toys to tractors, dog collars to doorbells, riding mowers to remote keys. If it takes a battery, we have it at Rex Battery. Over 75,000 batteries in stock right now. So if you're wondering if we've got a battery, yep, we've got it. They're fresh, fully charged, and ready to go. Keeping Central Illinois fully powered for over 60 years. Rex Battery, Clear Lake, west of Dirksen.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Listen up, goats. GreenCertifiedWest.com has a new tool for customers who want to sell their car or get a trade value. It's the GOAT Quote. Pre-owned vehicles are worth more now than ever before. It's easy to get a guaranteed offer from our goats. So how does it work?
Just go to GreenCertifiedWest.com, type in your license plate number, answer a few questions, and get your GOAT Quote right on the spot.
How does he type so fast? Don't sell or trade your car until you get the GOAT Quote, only from Green Certified West.
Well, we're not quite done just yet. Brian Lauer here, and I hope you all had a great Christmas. I know I did. It was the last retail Christmas season for me. See, I've been in retail since I was in 8th grade. But don't say goodbye just yet. We still have inventory to sell. So, we may be open another couple of weeks or till it's gone. Bring your Christmas cash and save big. Hours are 11 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday, in the beautiful Montvale Junction Shopping Center on West Isles.
I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Ion Travel Minute. More and more online booking sites are offering hotel rooms with a different set of choices. You can prepay at a discount, but the room rate is non-refundable. Or you can pay a higher price at the hotel, and the rate may be cancelable based on the hotel's cancellation policy. Or some hotels are now offering partially refundable rates, but these can often be misleading and downright deceptive. At some hotels, partially refundable can mean only getting 10% of your money back. Always have a conversation with the hotel directly and negotiate your own cancellation terms, or you could easily be disappointed. For more information, visit petergreenberg.com. I'm Peter Greenberg, and this is today's Ion Travel Minute.
Nobody should have to pay for one-size-fits-all insurance coverage. Liberty Mutual customizes your car and home insurance, so you only pay for what you need. Visit libertymutual.com to learn more. libertymutual.com.
92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
All right, back at it. And overnight, while you were sleeping, the Illinois House passed a ban on certain semi-automatic weapons and magazines of 12 or more rounds, plus extending the firearm restraining order from 6 months to a year. That bill did not include limiting anyone under 21 from getting a firearm owner ID card. They stripped that out of what we've been discussing for weeks out of House Bill 5855. But what they did is a gut and replace of a Senate bill that already passed. So the Senate bill passed back in April of 2021, dealt with amusement rides. And then yesterday afternoon, they provided a House amendment to that Senate bill, and they brought it up in committee. Now, earlier on in the day, Governor J.B. Pritzker, again, he talked about, how he said that it's popular. A gun ban is popular, he said. So here's Governor J.B. Pritzker, followed by Decatur Republican State Representative Dan Calkins reacting just to a little bit of this assertion of the popularity of a ban on certain types of weapons. Governor J.B. Pritzker, again, was at the Ball Chatham School District here in Springfield, just south of Springfield, discussing this and taking questions about a proposed assault weapons ban.
And so I think there's a strong majority of people across the state that believe that we don't need weapons of war on the streets of Illinois, and that we can save lives if we pass an assault weapons ban.
I guess you could take a poll. I could, make a poll and find the majority of people don't like Santa Claus. I mean, you can get polls to say anything you want. This governor's got an agenda. He wants to run for president. He needs to have another plank in his platform.
We're talking about. So this was all early in the day at the Illinois State House, and this was before we knew that there was going to be an amendment to a Senate bill, and just how rapidly it would move forward. So now we get to the committee last evening at about 4 o'clock is when it was scheduled, and this is the amendment that included a change from a ban of magazines of 10 or more to a ban of magazines of 12 or more, and they did reduce the penalties for possession of those magazines from, I think, like a Class 2 felony to first offense being a petty offense with a $1,000 fine, and then subsequent offenses for having magazines over 12 rounds being a Class 4 felony. But the measure still laid out a whole bunch of weapons that it defines as assault weapons, and it's around 100 different types of pistols, rifles, and shotguns, and it says that you have to register those within 300 days of the bill's enactment. So they put this in committee, and House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch was in front of the committee proposing this bill and saying that it's necessary to curb gun violence. It's necessary to make sure that people feel safe when they go out in public and they can go to parades without the fear of being shot at by somebody who has ill intention in their heart, a maniac, a crazy person who's looking to do as much damage as they can. So he says that this proposal to ban these certain types of weapons is necessary. Here is House Speaker Emanuel Chris Welch in front of that House committee discussing this bill.
If this bill were to become law, there will be no removal of these weapons from people who already own them. And I really want to highlight that, because we always hear this narrative that we're taking away guns from lawful gun owners. We are not taking away anyone's guns. But we will require that the serial numbers on these grandfathered weapons be associated with the owner's FOID account. There must be accountability.
So Speaker Welch saying that he's not looking to take anybody's guns away, just wants to make sure that they're registered. And a lot of people pushing back against that, saying, listen, registration leads to confiscation. Seems to be a ongoing mantra in the Second Amendment community. So Ed Sullivan, he was there with the Illinois State Rifle Association, and the gun rights groups have not been negotiating on this. They say that they are not negotiating on a gun ban. They've promised to file litigation against any type of gun ban, like what they saw several weeks ago with House Bill 5855, like with what they saw last night with the House amendment to Senate Bill 2226, I believe it was. But here's Ed Sullivan talking about some of their opposition to this idea of banning certain types of weapons and magazines and the criminal penalties associated with it.
Part of me wants you to pass this bill. From what I read, it's less constitutional than it was before. Takes away more rights than it did before. Makes it easier to strike down, because this isn't the right process that should have taken place. Millions of gun owners become criminals the day this bill is signed. I could take my firearms, I could take my mags across the border. I have the means. It's easy. Plus, I live 30 minutes from the border of Wisconsin. What if someone can't? Are you going to go out and tell everybody that their handgun that has 15 rounds, common 15-round magazines, becomes a felon because they have 3 of them? 70 counties throughout the Illinois are 2A sanctuary counties. So in 70 counties, they're not going to enforce this law if it becomes law and it's declared constitutional. 70. So you're going to have the haves and the have-nots. It's not going to be someone that looks like me.
So Ed Sullivan with the State Rifle Association is one of the groups expected to file lawsuits if this does indeed get enacted. And we also had in front of the committee a member of the African American Gun Association, the Illinois director of the African American Gun Association. And Courtney Redmond took to the committee and talked about what he didn't see at some of the hearings of previous iterations of this bill. He talked about how the minority community is going to be impacted by this in a negative fashion. Here's Courtney Redmond.
The committee meeting, the third hearing in Chicago. You know what I seen in the audience? You know, I seen with Moms Demand Action. I didn't see one black woman from the South or the West Side. You know why? They were working. We want to make it more expensive. We want to make it more trying, and we want to restrict the black community from their rights. It is their right. It's their Second Amendment right. We had to fight for that right? Because we were considered 3/5 of a man. I would no longer be considered 3/5 of a man. Don't take my rights.
So Courtney Redmond making his short statement to the committee, and you had a lot of back and forth as well that ultimately led to a vote. But before the vote, you had State Representative C.D. Davidsmeyer sound off on this, and we'll get to that. Plus, Republican State Representative Andrew Chesney on the House floor speaking directly to the House Speaker, but also Governor J.B. Pritzker, who was on the House floor late last night, early this morning, as they voted to approve this measure to ban certain types of semi-automatic guns and magazines of over 12 rounds. So stay tuned. Overnight, while you were sleeping, they passed this out of the House. Now, both chambers are back in session today. What's going to happen in the Illinois Senate? Is it going to come up? They have until January 10th to pass legislation before the new General Assembly is seated, and they have to start over from scratch with all of the thousands of different bills that they have. So stay tuned. Much more coming up here with Springfield's Morning News on 92.7 WMAY, including your phone calls at 217-629-7970. That's the phone number here, live and local. You can also email bishoponair@gmail.com. All right, let's take a break at 6:49 from Culver's West on Wabash.
It's time to apply at Culver's West on Wabash. We're hiring all positions, and did we mention free food? Only at Culver's West on Wabash.
3120 Montvale Drive, Springfield.
Where do you go when you want to get in shape?
The Body Quest store, the Body Quest store.
High quality exercise equipment for your home.
The Body Quest store, the Body Quest store.
The quest for the healthier you begins at
the Body Quest store, the Body Quest store.
3120 Montvale Drive.
The Body Quest store, the Body Quest store.
787-9930.
The Body Quest store, the Body Quest store.
The quest for the healthier you begins at the Body Quest store. 3120 Montvale Drive, Springfield.
You create phenomenal value for your clients. You offer something extraordinary. Your work is your passion. At Ace Sign Company, we create visual communications that capture the professionalism, purpose, and the extraordinary values of your business. Discover how our team can work with yours to ignite your clients' confidence and strengthen your brand with true inspirational signage. Ace Sign Company. Built to inspire. ASignCo.com.
Rex with a double X battery. Generations of power.
Here's what we believe at Rex Battery. You should be able to find the right battery when you need it. Our company started when my dad needed a battery for his car, and he built it himself. Today, more than 50 years later, we are still making sure you can find the right battery you need. And that includes the common batteries people use every day to the hard-to-find batteries used in big farm equipment. While online outlets are struggling with supply chain issues, we have shelves full of batteries. The best part is we're right here in town and ready to help today. Hearing aids, power tools, and the car in your garage. If it takes a battery, you can find the battery at Rex Battery, Clear Lake, just west of Dirksen.
Anxiety. There's plenty of it to go around for just about everyone these days, but the question is, how are you dealing with it? Anxiety can make things difficult. If you find yourself reaching for drugs or alcohol as the solution, chances are your anxiety has gotten out of control. It's time to pick up the phone and call Gateway Foundation. You'll talk with someone who holds the strictest confidentiality so that you can open up and learn about treatment options. Our team of professional counselors, therapists, psychiatrists, and physicians have a long history of helping people like you get back on track. During the healing process, you'll find that there is nothing to be ashamed of. Calling Gateway Foundation is that important first step towards getting away from the self-medication of alcohol and other substances and on the road towards safe, rewarding, and sustainable recovery. Call Gateway Foundation at 877-505-HOPE for a free, private, confidential screening. Gateway Foundation, addiction medicine saving lives.
What's the best thing to do with your money during uncertain times? Financial experts agree products like certificates of deposit and money market accounts can be a safe haven from a bumpy economy. At Warren Boynton State Bank, we've been helping people find ways for their money to make money for 145 years. Certificates of deposit, or CDs, give you a guaranteed return on your money. Money market accounts are a way to let your money earn higher interest with the flexibility of a checking account. These are just two options we have at Warren Boynton, each designed to give your money security, and they just might help you sleep better at night. At Warren Boynton, you can say we've seen a few things over the years. A lot has happened since we opened our doors in 1877, but no matter what was going on in the rest of the world, we've stood by folks in Central Illinois. A little extra confidence during challenging economic times. Warren Boynton State Bank, WBSB.net, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Warren Boynton, your bank.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Take Springfield's morning news with Greg Bishop everywhere with the free WMAY mobile app. 92.7 WMAY, Springfield's news and talk.
All right, back at it and hearing some of the debate from last night in committee. Again, this is on a new bill. It's not House Bill 5855. It's on a House amendment to Senate Bill 2226 that was filed at about 3 o'clock yesterday afternoon. They had a hearing at 4 o'clock. It didn't start until about 4:30. And then they went at about 12:48 in the morning this morning while you were sleeping to pass this bill in the Illinois House. Could come up in the Illinois Senate today when they return. But let's get back to some of the debate in the House committee. Here's C.D. Davidsmeyer, a Jacksonville Republican state representative, sounding off on his problems with this, though he says he likes the idea of creating a task force to go after gun trafficking.
Right? Trafficking, that's a problem. That is killing people throughout the city of Chicago, throughout the state. It's not just inner city Chicago. It's not, right? And nobody wants to get rid of illegal guns and bad activity more than a legal gun owner. But you are turning legal gun owners with this bill into felons. It's a slippery slope. I understand we don't know what the answer is to mental instability, right? To frustrated children that have mental issues or whatever it may be. But we're doing something here that is going to harm more legal citizens than anything. So your registration in here, and it is a registration, Is that going to be available via FOIA?
Great question.
No. Okay. I just want to clarify that. Once again, I don't think the majority of gun owners are going to register. And I'm not sure who's going to round them all up, very honestly.
So C.D. Davids-Meyer is actually going to join us live in the last half of next hour. Stay tuned for that. But on the House floor, they went ahead and brought it up and proceeded to move forward with it, where you had proponents saying this needs to happen to curb gun violence and saying that it's constitutional, and they trust that it's going to, regardless of any challenges that are expected, if it passes and is enacted, it's constitutional. So they said that it's to curb gun violence, and we need to pass this to make the streets safer. But Governor J.B. Pritzker was on the House floor last night while this was being debated, and Republican State Representative Andrew Chesney, he pushed back against Republican leadership, saying that they didn't stand stronger against this. Here's Andrew Chesney's impassioned debate last night.
Because if we see the nonsense that we just saw, the Republican Party will not exist in the state of Illinois. But we're right on the issues. So I think, Speaker Welch, you're probably smiling because you're saying, gosh, our leader just joined your bill. You're thinking checkmate. And I agree. And it's very unfortunate for our party because we stand for Second Amendment rights. Because we are right on the issues. Every state in the Midwest is safer than the one that you control, Governor, and the one that you lead, Speaker Welch. Every state. And in the state of Illinois, we continue to empower criminals and punish the law-abiding citizens. Every time. We empower the criminals and we punish the law-abiding citizens. But you might ask, what states are starting to embrace pro-gun legislation? Do you know the state that actually was the founder of constitutional carry? It was actually Vermont, big Republican stronghold. Also joined by New Hampshire, Colorado. And over half of the states in our union disagree with the Democrat majority. Over half of the states disagree with you. And I do agree, Speaker and Governor, I do agree that our area, our state, has crime problems. But I can't help to note the area that the crime problems predominantly resonate are in the areas you represent.
So that's Republican State Representative Andrew Chesney speaking directly to Governor J.B. Pritzker, who is on the House floor. And again, that was about 12:48 this morning. So while you were sleeping, they did ultimately pass that. And the outcome of the bill was around, 64 yes and 43 no. It passed, and we'll talk more about this next.
From the Fly SPI Studios, take the easy way out. WMAY FM, Taylorville, Springfield's News and Talk is 92.7 WMAY.
Here's the latest from ABC News. I'm Alex Perche. January 6, 2 years to the day the U.S. Capitol was attacked.
One of the biggest and most complex investigations and prosecutions continue at an unprecedented speed and scale, says the Attorney General's statement. Garland says more than 950 people have been arrested, many convicted. Over 480 people have pleaded guilty to federal charges, and many face prison. Garland expresses gratitude to law enforcers, including 5 officers who have since lost their lives.
ABC's Chuck Sievertson. President Biden marking the day by honoring 12 people who helped defend our democracy, including election workers who pushed back against former President Trump's efforts to overturn the 2020 election results, and of course, police officers, including Brian Sicknick, who died a day later. His partner now suing Trump and 2 others, holding them responsible, seeking $10 million from each defendant. Meanwhile, the back and forth on Capitol Hill continues for a new House Speaker. GOP leader Kevin McCarthy still fighting for the title after 11 rounds of failed voting.